frame 1. Championship League Snooker.
Fair amount of tournaments.
One.
Just 3 ranking event winners, Jimmy Robertson, Thepchaiya Un-Nooh and Marco Fu. So it's a very, very tough group to come into, and already Thepchaiya has got going in frame 1 here.
6.
Looking like a 3-way fight for this group, but obviously this match is vital for Thepchaiya because Jimmy Robertson won 3-0 against Ian Martin, so I'm sure Un-Nooh is looking to match that. He plays the last match, of course, against Marco Fu, still in the mix, of course, after the draw.
Yeah, the Lions Den, I think that's a good way of putting it. It's one of the tougher groups we've had. And in fact, I think overall
15.
today, even on table 2, that group is uncompromising also. Overall, I think perhaps the best day for the quality of all of the players combined.
Hard to believe that Thepchaiya Un-Nooh nearly dropped off the tour last season. Plummeted down the rankings, points coming off. Of course, was one of the issues from the Thepchaiya system, but anyway, he stayed on, and you expect him to rise up the list again. Of course, he qualified for the Crucible. Gave John Higgins
30.
a bit of a match in round 1.
We've just had Wimbledon, and I suppose if you want to draw a tennis analogy with Thepchaiya, he's like one of those players capable of winning inspirational rallies and doing wonderful things, and then putting a
38.
a simple forehand into the net.
Well, he didn't hang around in that Marco Fu match. His average shot time is 15.5 seconds. So that's seriously quick. Not that that guarantees you anything, but that's how he plays. Of course, it's out. There was no sign of any concern about the shot clock. Well, be concerned about that. He didn't intend to catch that red. So that's a mistake.
46.
Very good recovery, though.
47.
Took a moment there, focused on the pot and back in business. Already he's up to 54.
54. $55.
Not his best, far from it. Okay, he's on the black, but look where the cue ball is.
Thepchaiya Un-Nooh, 55.
Yeah, so
One.
the other option is try and pot the blue. He's opened up the reds quite nicely. It was a tough one. It was a positive shot choice and could have led to good things, but blue didn't threaten the pocket in the end, so Thepchaiya with another chance, leading by 54. But that is a massive let-off. I think Ian Martin, just looking at him in his seat, thought the frame was over there. In fact, he's got a good chance here.
And this frame already is a microcosm of Thepchaiya Un-Nooh. The slack positional shot onto the black, and then a very surprising miss. Oh. But if Martin continues to play like this, this match will be over in double quick time.
Of course, he had that chance in the first frame against Jimmy Robertson, who also actually made a 55 break against him and was clearing up nicely, missed the green. And that was the start of his woes in that match, and things have not improved here. He's let Thepchaiya Un-Nooh off the hook in a big way, actually. He needs another red, and it should be 1-0 to him.
Seven. Eight.
That was frame ball. This is insurance.
14. 15. 20. 21.
So reminiscent of the most renowned speedster from the 80s and 90s, Tony Drago. When he's flowing, he makes the game look crazily easy.
27.
But at any moment he could
28.
make a mistake.
Thirty-four. Thepchaiya Un-Nooh,
There's that
34,
mistake I was telling
25.
you about. Although in this instance it was purely academic. Breaks of 55 and 34 mixed in with a few.
Frame 2.
Now that's
One.
more like it. That was a quality shot.
Sign of what a good player he is. I guess one of the issues for someone like Ian Martin is, of course, he has a full-time job,
6.
runs his own business, so that doesn't leave a lot of time to practice. He's not a 20-something, maybe has the opportunity to do that. So opportunities like this to play in these sort of tournaments can only be a positive.
7.
That's gone wrong, but the very fact he's here.
The Morningside Arena on Saturday actually takes on Chang Bingyu in the European Masters qualifiers.
Ian Martin, 7. Touching ball.
Thepchaiya Un-Nooh has been given a really tough early assignment against a former world champ.
Yeah, there's some tough matches coming up in that qualifying section. Ooh, a little flick was handy. Caught the red too thick. So Thepchaiya was a little fortunate to get that flick, but Ian Martin could still see too much of it, and that's why given Thepchaiya Un-Nooh this chance.
1.
Sort of doing that thing where he sort of can't bear to watch from his seat. Thepchaiya, of course, he had got in the 16. He was played in the Masters. He got up to number 15. He'd already lost the shootout points as well, and started cascading down the ranking list.
8.
Well, it's great that he stayed on. I mean, you wouldn't want to lose him from the tour, but it just shows it can happen to anyone if you get on a bad run.
Yes, and the way over some cracks.
14. 15.
Well, tight snooker's on the up, isn't it? Because, of course, there's Thepchaiya, there's Nopan Senkam, who got to the second round at the Crucible. Deshawat Poomjang's got his tour card back. We've not yet to see him. And, of course, the women's world champion,
22.
Thepchaiya, who we've already seen in this event. He's also on tour. And the Six Reds World Championship will be back in Bangkok in September.
23.
Yes, you're looking at a former winner.
Yes, and James Watanabe, the man who kind of started it all,
29.
he recently won gold medal at the Southeast Asian Games for snooker, so he's still playing. Not on the main
30.
tour anymore, but still playing, still representing Thailand.
I've never commentated on Six Reds,
37.
Dave. Must be quite a
30.
challenge, because you got a lot of very tight frames. The highest break isn't 147, of course, it's 75.
Well, it can be very quick. Actually, it can
45.
be over quickly, because obviously once those reds
46.
are broken in the first shot, they can all be on, they can all be potable. But it can also get very nervy, as you say. It's never sort of caught on in a big way. Obviously, we have the World Championship in Thailand, but you know, when it came along initially about a decade ago, there was sort of talk
53.
about would threaten the traditional game. Never happened. But equally, there's nothing wrong with having
54.
one event a year. It is quite popular. Well, there's 5 reds on here, and Thepchaiya Un-Nooh
60.
only needs one of them with a big colour, and he's 2-0 up.
61. $68. 69. Thepchaiya Un-Nooh 69.
Not the smoothest delivery of the cue. The yellow doesn't find the pocket. One snooker,
One.
which yields a free ball. Could be enough. And after that kiss off the green, it was imperative he dropped nicely on a high value.
Yes, I mean, realistically, he's unlikely to win
8.
the frame, but I think he's also looking for table time.
Nine.
Nothing wrong with that one, was there? Terrific pot. So, going to leave the last red on the table.
$15. Ian Martin 15.
He's played that nicely, so he's 47 behind, 35 on. Now, if Un-Nooh does miss black, then red, black, and all the colours, Martin could force a respotted black.
Well, this shouldn't be a free ball, should it? Even if he misses it.
Foul. Ball or
Sorry, I'm playing blue, 3 ball.
blue?
Yeah.
Okay, blue ball.
Yeah, the referee's asking for clarification, so he's taking the blue as a red. Laying down for the black. It might have to be pink now. But even so, this frame feels a bit closer.
1.
pink, it's one snooker needed. If he takes the black, obviously got to get it, then he can still...
Ian Martin 1, frame.
Frame 3.
Could have won the frame. The pink, which was easier, he could have tied the frame. Chose the black, missed it. But on another day, Thepchaiya Un-Nooh could have been punished there. Ooh, nearly a lovely fluke.
And that's what you see.
Chances to maybe see them detail shortly.
1.
Yeah, not crocodile shoes, are they? More Stegosaurus.
Well, they're certainly distinctive. It's interesting, people talk about the dress code a lot, but actually, well, he's not on the red, that's the first thing to say. I was going to say,
8.
players, even within restrictions for various tournaments, have an opportunity to distinctive in their choices, working within the rules. So you hear them complain about the dress code sometimes, but they have a choice to be a bit more individualistic. Pot that, he couldn't quite accept he wasn't on it properly, so he set up an immediate scoring visit here for Ian Martin.
Well, that was a classic example of someone who was hoping the red could go, when really he knew it wouldn't.
1.
Pushing out the boat, not advisable. Can't tell you, by the way, Mitchell Mann and Matthew Stevens, they've just drawn 2-2 over on table 2. For the first 2 matches
Ian
in
Martin,
Group 21 have resulted in draws. Can't imagine this one's going to.
Well, embarrassed maybe that he's not producing the form he obviously can produce.
1.
But as I was saying in the first match, you know, these are very different conditions to what he's used to, and also there's a lot of attention on him going out live around the world. It looks like Thepchaiya will probably get enough chances
8.
to win this match. Having said that, he's going to be opening reds up here, playing this one. Yeah, and so kind of had to get that. You know, he's not guaranteed to win 3-0, and of course if it ends 3-1, for example, then that lost frame could really be costly. Just a little bit slapdash at times from Thepchaiya Un-Nooh today.
Ian Martin 8.
He's a fine player, Ian Martin. If you saw him down at his local club, he would be unrecognisable to this. Of course, on the TV table, against a world-class opponent, under, as Dave said, heavy scrutiny. It's all very different.
Yeah, and I think once you start making sort of basic errors...
5.
Yeah, 2 draws on the other table, so, you know, if that pattern continues, then the high breaks may well come into it. Mitchell Mann made an 80 against Matthew Stevens, so obviously that's
12.
Put him in the driving seat over Matthew. And
13.
Stephen Maguire's made an 87. So he's top at the moment. Very early days still, but worth following that.
Foolish contact.
20.
So it arrested the movement of the cue ball. Out of position, having to play safe. Now that was a radical improvement. Very good shot. And where the balls are, if Martin can get in, feel better.
Well, it's a great red, isn't it? And like you say, clinical as he could be. And like I say, if he loses this frame, even if he wins, it could be very costly on the countback. Because, of course, he's already drawn a match. Jimmy Robertson beat Ian Martin 3-0.
8. Nine. Ian Martin 9.
No excuse. That was just elementary.
I think that's the worst thing today, isn't it? He's landed in a very tough group, but he's had a lot of chances. If he was just outplayed by these guys, then that's something you can accept. But what will annoy him is he's had the chances, he's had the openings, and not been making very much from them. So very frustrating for him. But delight for Thepchaiya. Maybe this is the visit he needs now to get this one.
Thepchaiya Un-Nooh 7. One.
He may just have made his mind up to go for this. Oh, well done. That was a big shot, wasn't it? Probably end the match had he missed that. But I think by now he's just decided, as I say, to go for it.
4. 5.
If the blue will go, that will be his
Blue
colour
ball.
of choice. Yes, he can swing the cue ball in and out of balk here.
Ian Martin 10.
It was going to be one of the biggest days of his snooker life, and as so often is the case, it's turned into a word that Dave used, an ordeal.
1.
And still, Thepchaiya Un-Nooh has difficulties with the positional. After that, though, Dave, I think the end could be nigh.
6.
Well, it should be. I mean, it's not been the smoothest passage, but as I say, he's just had enough chances. But he's got a
7.
big match coming up later on, of course, against Jimmy Robertson. Now, A lot can happen before then. Robertson's got to play Marco Fu. Fu's got to play Ian Martin. It's a three-way fight in this group for top spot, and every frame will count. So really important he puts this away now and wins 3-0. And the
Thepchaiya
ping's not
Un-Nooh
in. He's sort of crawling towards the line, but he's not over it yet.
Snooker, this is one mistake after the next snooker.
One. Seven.
The black was the only awkward ball on the table.
Twelve.
Well, this could be really big in the overall group standings if he can take this frame. Apart from anything else, you know,
16.
Thepchaiya hasn't won the match yet. He could end up 2 each. That would be a disastrous result for him, actually.
$21.
Slightly overrun here. Still needs pink and black. He's a tall guy, though, isn't he? Even so, he does need the rest. And what about this?
27.
I mean, how many chances did Un-Nooh have, Phil, to win this match 3-0?
I think it's, as I said before, a microcosm of his career.
Frame 4.
Considering how the play had gone for 2 3/4 frames.
Well, Thepchaiya Un-Nooh's put himself under it by not clinically closing out the match. I mean, if you look at the previous frame, you know, he could have lost that after the free ball win. Another draw's not going to be any good to him. But 3-1, remember Jimmy Robertson won 3-0 against Ian Martin. He's still on the back foot, but he needs to win.
1.
And he would still have a chance, of course, of winning this group. He's one of those players, you can see why he's so popular, actually, because it's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it, following him? Not dull, certainly.
8.
Well, no, he makes a habit of putting together maximums.
Well, for a while he made a habit of missing the last black, but thankfully he's made some since then.
16.
Yeah, UK final, missed the last black, and then later that season. Both been drawn there.
$24. Thepchaiya Un-Nooh, 24.
Now, that wasn't a gimme, but it's the kind of pot you expect him to knock in. Of course, he was chasing the black. That was the issue.
One. 3. 4.
The red just about creeps in, and now ideal on the black. Tell you what, Jimmy Robertson will be watching this with interest, because if it is a 2-all draw, when the next session begins at 5 o'clock, Robertson's first into action against Marco Fu, and a win for Robertson in that match would see him top the group with a match to spare.
12.
Yeah, and that would be extraordinary, actually, wouldn't it? When you consider at the start of the day, I think everyone agreed, you know, there were 3 strong candidates to win the group. Marco Fu by no means out of this yet himself. Meanwhile, he's left this awkward now. Cue ball close to the side cushion. But rolled it in nicely. It was a good little clearance he made in the last frame, because all sorts of things had gone wrong before then, and that will just make him feel better.
90.
Now he's won a frame. And if he could take a point from the match, then better.
Ian Martin, 19.
Those final stages, or the second stage, filling up nicely. Tomorrow, actually, is the midpoint of the Championship League, Phil. Day 11 of 21.
Yeah, it's been really intriguing so far, actually. We've had upsets, some big names going out, some excellent snooker played.
A lot of the players who we've spoken to have said they feel this is an ideal first event of the season.
6.
Get 3 matches. It's one thing, so you know you don't just play and if you get beat you go home. You got to have action all day, and they're sort of easing their way back into the season. Got qualifiers
7.
coming up at the weekend, and then from sort of September time the tournaments come more regularly.
Now, that really won the black.
Thepchaiya Un-Nooh, 19.
Well, he's absolutely determined to get the match won now. Hang on. Ooh. He and Novin Sengam, they didn't fare so well in the pool, did they, the World Cup?
Well, they were appalling. Novin came off the table afterwards, big smile on his face, as he normally has, just shaking his head and saying, it's like an ice rink. It was in the sense that they slipped up quite a few.
Players are starting to look at it as something they maybe should take more seriously. I think a lot of them have watched it in the past and thought, oh, that looks easy, but of course the specific skill set you need, certainly tactics, and obviously the break is a big shot in pool, which the snooker players are still learning.
Now, what a pot that was. Looks like being for just a single point. Needs delicacy here if he's going to get in behind the green. That will do.
Thepchaiya Un-Nooh, 1.
do, because he's left the lone open red.
1.
That was beautifully
6.
timed.
7.
Yeah, this looks like the end now. He needs another red after the black. It's not been plain sailing. He had a lot of chances to win 3-0, and losing one frame here
14.
has put a serious dent in his chances of winning the group. But he's by no means out of it yet. He's got, of course, the match with Jimmy Robertson later. And by that
15.
point, he will know exactly how this group stands. But it looks like he's going to have to win that match pretty clearly.
Yes, after the first session, these two, well, they've gone in opposite directions. Un-Nooh will top the table.
30.
Ian Martin will sit at the foot of it.
31.
Well, do stay with us, because after this match we'll be going to table 2 to watch Matthew Stevens and see Jia Hui. So the
37.
action continues.
39. 42.
So breaks of 55, 69, and 42 unfinished. Make that 46.
46.
So on the face of it, not bad, but he really does need to tighten up. Stand a chance against Robertson.
51. Foul. Ian Martin 6. Thepchaiya 51. Frame
After his
in the
3-0
match.
defeat by
Subscribe to my YouTube channel, more other videos. Thanks for watching.
Okay, let's go.